Maritime Workers in Lae Protest over changes. New entity to own state companies. And PNG gears up for independence.
This is National EMTV News with Tokana Hasavi.
A very good evening to you and thanks for joining us on the eve of Papua New Guinea's independence. I'm Tokana Hasavi Jr. The Lae Maritime Workers Union members today staged a peaceful protest against a decision made by PNG Ports to invite a foreign company to handle operations at the international terminal. The majority of workers are the Ahi, Lae's traditional landowners, who have called on the Prime Minister Peter O'Neill to intervene and stop the decision. EMTV's Bethany Harriman reports from Lae.
Behind me is a peaceful protest held by PNG Maritime Workers Union over the decision by PNG Ports Corporation to invite a foreign company to come in and look after operations at the international terminal.
The peaceful protest was held at the front gate of Lae's PNG Ports Corporation at around noon.
In 2030, they tried to bring Patrick's down here.
Lae's maritime workers were frustrated and walked off their jobs to gather here to draw attention to their plight. They say their jobs are at risk by the corporation's decision.
National development no can come up without us.
Their family will suffer and the decision is unfair. Maritime workers have come out strong, saying foreign companies cannot take their job security in their own land. Workers told EMTV that when a foreign company takes over the international terminal, local machinery and manpower will be put out of work. They've called for high-level attention from the Prime Minister Peter O'Neill, Morobe Governor Kelly Naru and State Enterprise Minister Ben Maika.
So where will we go tomorrow? The little people.
PNG Ports is expected to make a response to the peaceful protest held today. Bethany Harriman, National EMTV News, Lae.
Well, landowners from the PDL7 area in Hela Province want the government to state clearly where the LNG benefits are parked. They've warned the government that the drastic measures will be taken if the government doesn't come out to explain.
The PDL7 landowners have again expressed dissatisfaction over the treatment by the national government over LNG benefits. They say the recent announcement by the government on royalty payments leaves them in doubt.
Bila Papua Guinea Mileno Soviet, Bila still lost. Whether that money goes to Hela Provincial government, national government must come to the project site or come to the media and tell the Papua Guinea that landowners that we have been releasing the money to the provincial government.
Recently, they handed over 2 petitions to the national government but say the response is not satisfactory. They say the 2 petitions will be the last and severe strategies will be taken to define the life of the PNG LNG project.
We want the Prime Minister to come good and tell us where that money is, how much is in the trust, who are the signatories to that trust, and we agree that petition is final, and we want answers from that.
Prime Minister Peter O'Neill is expected to visit Heights on the 27th of this month. The landowners are expecting a positive stand from the Prime Minister. They have brushed aside differences and are working together to make sure benefits signed in the UBSA and LBBSA are honored by the government and stakeholders.
The PDL7 leaders are intact. We are together. We are looking at one angle only, and that is to pursue this issue with the government, the national government, and the developer.
Maybe ask him government when government of the day by honoring agreement is that Nogat Minasa project by go or shut down.
Jack Lapava Jr. National EMTV News.
Bank South Pacific Chairman Costas Constantinou today announced that BSP remains committed to the acquisition of Westpac's banking operations in the Solomon Islands. The statement released today comes as BSP moves to expand its operations in the Pacific. All necessary approvals and discussions with the Central Bank of the Solomon Islands have been positive, according to BSP. The bank says it is confident for a positive conclusion. Other acquisitions by BSP includes Westpac's banking operations in Fiji, Samoa and Tonga. Westpac's banking operations in Vanuatu will also be acquired by BSP. The PNG Communications Workers Union has raised concerns over the new process that Telecom PNG has employed in restructuring the company. The General Secretary and the President claim that the union has not been consulted in the process. The Telecom management says the spill and fill process identifies the best people for the job and looks at future growth and development.
The union executives say the spill and fill, a redundancy process that is being used by Telecom PNG, is in breach of the enterprise bargaining agreement of 2010.
If the management thinks that they can be able to go ahead with whatever they're doing,
the union executives claim Telecom PNG management has not been transparent with these dealings.
The retrenchment exercise using the spill and fill, as far as the union is concerned, is illegal.
In February, Telecom management traveled to centers around the country to explain to staff about this process that will shape the company's future. The Telecom management says the aim of the process is to find the best people for the job. In a telephone interview with EMTV Today, Telecom CEO Michael Donnelly says the spill and fill process is not voluntary. It is a process where they aim to identify critical skills that the company needs and match those with highly skilled individuals who have proven that they can do the job. Donnelly says the process has been a transparent and public one and have been fully supported by Telecom staff. He says as part of building up a sustainable telecommunications business, there needs to be an upgrade of technology, and this upgrade will be matched with the right people. Sarah Aupong, National EMTV News.
A new entity which will replace the Independent Public Business Corporation, or IPBC, will be launched by the government in December. Kumul Holdings will be the government's entity that will own state corporations. This follows on from the introduction of new governing laws in September 2nd.
The act will make way for the formation of three entities: Kumul Petroleum Holdings, Kumul Mineral Holdings, and Kumul Consolidated Holdings, all responsible for the sovereign wealth of Papua New Guinea. Through the act, the Independent Public Business Corporation has been transformed into Kumul Consolidated Holdings and will effectively see the IPBC, which holds the portfolio of state-owned enterprises including Air New Guinea, PNG Power and Telecom PNG, rebadged and reorganized. According to Narau, on the eve of the country's 40th anniversary, the IPBC Act was amended to make it contemporary and relevant.
The IPBC has changed its name to Kumul Consolidation Holdings. The act still remains, except there has been some amendments with the act, but the actual act is still in place. The change of name has taken place, and the few areas, few parts of that act has been repealed. So we're now going through a transitional period now.
On to telecommunications, two major players in the sector, Telecom PNG and B-Mobile Vodafone, both under the portfolio of the Kumul Consolidated Holdings, will be amalgamated to form one body.
We have a cabinet decision in reference to Telecom B-Mobile. So that cabinet decision will be basically complied with in terms of a amalgamation between Telecom and B-Mobile into one body. So we, in the communication space, we'll have Telecom and B-Mobile, and of course for the wholesale, we'll have Datacom.
Leon Jarari, National EMTV News.
You're watching National EMTV News tonight. Stay tuned. We'll give you a preview of tomorrow's celebrations. Stay with us for that and more. Good to have you back with National EMTV News. Well, on the eve of the country's 40th independence anniversary, the Lae streets were filled with flags, billas and other attractions. Lae's EMTV crew took to the streets to seek thoughts from the Lae public. Lae's senior citizens were keen to make comparisons of the past and now, 40 years on.
The country's 40th independence anniversary in Lae has attracted a showcase of flags, traditional wear and a spread of provincial colors. Residents in Lae, both young and old, have a lot to say about the country's progress after 40 years of being independent. 60-year-old Ayuk Hofagao is a retired public servant who has worked with the Morobe Provincial Administration for over 20 years.
You know, biru have been come up time independence come up. Also now you look into some big percentage now you play young patuma senis in passing.
She was 20 years old when PNG gained independence in 1975. Jacob Ngori from Morobe CRC witnessed PNG gaining independence while he was a student at Lae's Bugandi School. He says the trend of education is changing with time.
Plenty of young people go grade 10, 11, 12 old. You know, local stuff. They are not ill or something. It's creating plenty of kind something or some.
Lae's young people also had their say. It has been a celebration of spectacular colors of flags and clothing leading up to the country's birthday tomorrow. Colin Barilai, National EMTV News, Lae.
Well, PNG's UN Resident Coordinator, Roy Trivedi, says UNDP will continue its awareness campaign on disaster risk reduction measures in the country as it turns 40. Mr. Trivedi says while the country is celebrating, some communities continue to be affected by the drought.
As part of the UNDP's goal to increase communities' access to vital environmental information, it has conducted disaster risk reduction exercises in selected communities in PNG.
And it's a country which is constantly aspiring for its citizens to achieve as much as possible in terms of their own development.
While congratulating PNG on its 40th independence anniversary, the UN Resident Coordinator reflected on the areas of improvements that UN can work in collaboration with the national government to achieve in the coming years. These areas include PNG's democratic governance, gender equality, and disaster risk management. Since establishing a UN office in PNG, the organization has assisted PNG with creating policies and providing technical support in rural communities on measures to manage disasters.
Many Papua New Guineans, there is still a huge challenge of receiving good quality services, whether it's education, health, water and sanitation, or other services. And so we need to continue to work with government and others to try and improve those services.
Tekla Gunga, National EMTV News.
Pacific communities face many challenges in accessing clean water supply. In today's discussion in the 8th Pacific Water Conference, water utilities in the region identified strategies in overcoming this. The call is for governments to adapt and be more inclusive in eradicating obstacles faced by Pacific communities.
A range of topics were discussed by participants of the 22 water utilities attending the conference. Topics include water and gender, asset management, water and technology, and non-revenue water challenges and solutions. The most captivating session was the non-revenue water challenges. This has been the problem faced by Water PNG and Edarano over the years, but the same story stretches over the Pacific region.
It's a very common thing amongst all the Pacific Islands. And of course that is due to a number of factors, neglect of infrastructure, asset management is a key thing, and just a systematic approach towards tackling the issue of non-revenue water needs to be organized well.
According to research presented in the sessions, huge amount of water is wasted or lost before it reaches consumers. On the brighter note, non-revenue water can be the #1 source of income if water utilities have control and better monitoring mechanisms.
We're tackling it in different ways, but I think there's a proven method that we need to adopt, and that is to have district metered areas. We need to meter what's being produced in the treatment plants, and also the meters that are calculating usage by our customers.
A working team is now putting together recommendations for the ministerial meet on Thursday. This would be the first positive step taken by the Pacific Water and Waste Management Association to involve government ministers. Jack Lapava Jr., National EMTV News.
And now let's take a look at the finance news. The Kina closed 15 points lower at $0.3535 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, our Kina was trading at $0.3460 $0.4811 Australian dollars, 0.3024 euro, and 41.26 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold, coffee, cocoa, and copra all closed the day higher. Palm oil and copper closed lower, while crude oil closed the day higher. And finally, on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 63 points higher, the ASX closed at 24 points higher, and the All Ordinaries closed at 25 points higher as well. Australia's new Prime Minister says a cabinet reshuffle is inevitable and more than 80 people killed in an explosion in India. Those stories abroad when we come back. Stay with us. Welcome back to the news. Today marks 50 years of St. Ignatius Secondary School in Aitape, West Sepik Province. First established off Seleo Island in Aitape in 1965, the school's rich history has made it one of the country's prestigious educational institutions. Current students, ex-students, teachers and parents gathered today to celebrate the Golden Jubilee. EMTV's Stanley Over Jr. files this report from Aitape.
The 50-year celebration started with a Thanksgiving Mass this morning and later moved to the school field where the school's marching band led the group of ex-students, teachers and the student body to the main celebration area. There the formalities were made along with the singing of the school's 50 years theme song. The school has a long and colorful history. It is here where education started in West Sepik Province. Catholic missionaries dated back to the 40s were here during the World War and later started the school in the 60s. The pioneer student leader of the school back in 1965 shared his experience when they first came here in St. Ignatius.
Maybe first time lo balus na kartu kalau here kam lo St. Ignatius from la long around with a few tomates, two tomates, one blouse, that's all la busi banis in slab. We're given a blanket, given a plate and a spoon, moved to the tomatry and blessed up, all same.
The school's board chairman and former head teacher Frank Evans also shared his experience.
We are now 50 years old. St. Ignatius Primary Tea School, which was on this site, relocated to Seleo Island and became St. Francis Primary School, while St. Francis Junior High School transferred from Seleo to Rayu and became St. Ignatius High School.
He said the school was not only built by the missionaries, but parents of the pioneer students back in 1965.
Some of you are the beneficiary of the foresight of those parents and one talks. The parents who had the trust and the willingness to send their children to school when it was a foreign thing to do.
For former students and current students, the 50 years means nothing but excitement and pride of being part of St. Ignatius.
A great day for me especially because I'm an ex-student of the school.
I am excited. Also, I am so joyful that I have made my way to come to St. Ignatius and celebrate.
I cannot express this feeling, but they can see it currently. The parents here, they are all happy. As for me, I'm very, very happy to see all the parents and all the ex-students of this school with some.
The celebrations that started today will continue tonight and end on Thursday. Tomorrow, the school will host its annual cultural show along with the country's 40th independence celebration. Stanley Over Jr., National EMTV News, Aitape.
The 5 senior police officers from the NCD Metropolitan Command have accepted their transfers out of Port Moresby. They will begin their new roles in other areas of operations in Papua New Guinea come October. A proper handover ceremony will be staged on September the 30th to officially welcome the incoming officers into the command.
These senior officers include Superintendent Andy Bawa, Chief Inspector Silas Wayagure, and Commander Jerry Frank. Mr. Bawa and Mr. Wayagure will be transferred out of Port Moresby to Mount Hagen and Kerama, respectively, while Mr. Frank was moved to head the Traffic Division.
The recent transfers from our commissioner, we have only one commissioner, and we as members of the discipline force, we take orders.
Their transfer is a directive from the constabulary head, Gary Baki, a directive that involved a shuffle in 16 senior police positions nationwide. Weeks after the commissioner was appointed by the National Executive Council in April this year, he made changes to the deputy commissioners and appointed Raphael Wafolo as deputy commissioner for administration. His reasons were straightforward: to improve the image of police servicing in PNG.
We take orders from the commissioner, and it's the commissioner's prerogative to transfer officers as he sees fit. And he has done that so. And I, as the Metropolitan Commander, I have been issued instructions, and I have humbly accepted the transfer.
Despite calls made by 2 communities in Port Moresby last week to the Commissioner's office to keep Superintendent Bawa as the NCD head of command, the Commissioner, who refused to speak on camera, replied through a media release and said his directives was final and will not be changed. This morning, all 5 officers have announced that they have officially accepted their transfer and will be moving out to their new posts before the start of October. Tekla Gunga, National EMTV News.
To regional news now. A dramatic political turn of events last night resulted in the ousting of Tony Abbott as Liberal Party leader and Prime Minister of Australia. Newly instated Prime Minister of Australia, Malcolm Turnbull, was sworn in today after defeating Abbott in a Liberal ballot last night, 54 votes to 44. MTV's Alana Lae with this report.
Tony Abbott's leadership was challenged earlier in February this year, but this time he didn't survive. Today, he made a solemn farewell as leader before the new Prime Minister, Malcolm Turnbull, was sworn in.
Leadership changes are never easy for our country. My pledge today is to make this change as easy as I can.
Although Turnbull is a strong climate change advocate and critic of past climate change policies, including those within his own party, opposition leader Bill Shorten reminded Australians of their nation's pressing issues.
This country has been going nowhere for the last 2 years. You know the story. We see it every day in the suburbs and the streets. Unemployment has gone up. Debt and deficit has gone up.
But Turnbull, a former banker and lawyer, promised a robust and progressive outlook to change.
Now, we are living as Australians in the most exciting time. The big economic changes that we're living through in here and around the world offer enormous challenges and enormous opportunities.
Public opinions, however, are mixed with doubt over the apparent leadership instability.
I've voted in 3 elections now and had 5 prime ministers, so yeah, it's a bit scary.
We voted Tony Abbott as the Prime Minister. If Malcolm Turnbull had a chance, he's done his dash. He had his chance long ago and he missed his chance.
Prime Minister Peter O'Neill thanked outgoing Prime Minister Tony Abbott while congratulating Turnbull. Prime Minister O'Neill addressed PNG and Australia's need for closer cooperation, especially on the devastating damage caused by climate change in the Pacific region. Alana Lae, MTV World News.
In India, at least 89 people were killed on Saturday, with dozens injured after a powerful gas explosion destroyed a restaurant in Petlawad in the state of Madhya Pradesh, according to Indian police. It was a man who stored licensed mining explosives next to the restaurants that may have contributed to the massive explosion that damaged nearby buildings. A manhunt is now on for the suspect, identified as a mining contractor. Captured on this vision are concerned individuals sifting and salvaging anyone caught in the rubble of Saturday's devastating explosion. The explosion allegedly happened when a gas cylinder exploded, but the magnitude was boosted by the storage of explosives near the restaurants. Indian police have charged Rajendra Kaswa for illegally storing explosives in an area that included residences.
He has been booked under Sections 3 and 4 of the Explosives Act and Section 304 of the Indian Penal Code. All of his properties have been sealed, including his house and warehouses. We will be searching all of them today.
India has laws prohibiting commercial use of residential buildings, but they are rarely enforced. A fire may have triggered the blast, but an inquiry has been ordered to determine the exact cause. On Saturday, the Interior Minister of Madhya Pradesh said the government will provide assistance.
The cylinder blast took place at Satya Hotel, in which many people have died and many others are injured. We have ordered an investigation. The injured people and the families of the deceased will be given financial assistance. The announcement of the financial assistance will be done once the report of the inquiry comes.
Some of the dead included customers at a nearby restaurant. The impact of the blast was also felt across the road, where a few other houses also suffered damages. Explosion. Well, National EMTV News continues with True Guy Sports. That's coming up next. Stay tuned for all your sporting action.
True Guy Sports.
Welcome to True Guy Sports. To Rugby League, the SPPNG Hunters playoff against the Ipswich Jets this weekend for a spot in the 2015 Intrust Super Cup Grand Final against the Townsville Blackhawks. The Jets crushed the East Tigers' Grand Final hopes with a 44-18 scoreline, and the Hunters suffered a 26-12 loss in the Grand Final qualifier to the Blackhawks.
The SPPNG Hunters, carrying the hopes of the nation, will face the Ipswich Jets in their final obstacle in order to book a spot in the Intrust Super Cup Grand Final for 2015. The Jets are looking to continue their winning form into their clash this weekend. The Hunters suffered a tough defeat in the Grand Final qualifier when they went down to the Townsville Blackhawks 26-12. Christian Wolf, coach for the Blackhawks, said the Hunters are a good footy side and he expects to meet them in the final. The Blackhawks are debutants into the Intrust Super Cup and will be looking to create a fairy tale finish by winning the competition. But for now, the Hunters will go back to the drawing board and prepare for their match against the Jets, which is set to be a thriller. Dion Kombang, National EMTV Sports.
Well, national selectors have named a Prime Minister's 13th team based on youth and experience in preparation for the annual Rugby League fixture Australian select side later this month. The squad consists of a majority of Digicel Cup players and the inclusion of a Confederate. The delay in announcing the team was to allow for protocol whereby the squad would be sent to the Prime Minister before it was released.
Agmark Guria's captain Albert Patak was named among the likes of Watson Boss, Chris Jerry, David Missian and Daniel Pia. Goroka Lahani's young winger Philemon Kimisive will have another taste of rap footy as he too has been named in the 20-man Kumuls team. Former Hunters Noel Joel and David Loco alongside Albert Patak will add experience to a team of young guns, majority of which are current players from the Intercity Cup. Sam Minia is the only player that has been selected from the Northern Confederate in this year's PM's 13 lineup. Stanley Tappen has been announced as coach to guide the Kumuls. With a successful season season with the Lae Tigers, Tepend is no stranger with 2 consecutive minor premierships and semi-finals appearance under his belt. The squad sees the absence of any SPPNG Hunters players as they are involved in the finals of the Intra Super Cup this weekend. The annual PM's 13 will be played at the Sir John Guy Stadium on the 26th of this month. Skola Sengi, National, EMTV Sports.
Champion Du Fong is eyeing his 8th title in the men's major title set for tomorrow. Du has been in Port Moresby for the last 2 weeks, refining his techniques prior to the tournament. He will be faced by his toughest competition and 2-time KVN Open winner Marcus Ning. Although Ning has beaten Fong on a number of occasions this year, it is predicted that the two will meet again for the finals again this year. The men's major titles will key off with the round-robin matches tomorrow at the Dragon's Den, Aviate Club and Lamana's Q Club. Well, True Guy Sports continues after the break. Stay with us.
True Guy Sports.
Welcome back to True Guy Sports. Well, Cricket PNG has once again shown itself to be at the forefront of change in Papua New Guinea after they signed an MOU with the Coalition for Change. The partnership will see Cricket PNG tackle the issue of domestic violence against women and children.
With Cricket PNG now being the first sporting code in the country to adopt the concept, it was a moment of history for all. Cricket PNG will be part of the MOU for 2 years, with courses and education for their players, filtering that through to the younger generation, and this awareness will be a priority for the sport.
One of the most important aspects of Cricket PNG's running, we're so happy to be involved in this cause. If you look around the world, even last week what happened in Australia, it's very untowarding against women, and we won't stand for it as a cricket organisation. So when we met Coalition of Change 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was very over the moon of getting into partnership with it.
Chairperson for the Coalition for Change, Lady Winifred Carmet, was ecstatic.
This is really exciting. There is support in the organisation, and the support that is, as you can see, it's been a couple of weeks and it's already on. The private sector and the bash that Greg Campbell's talking about is a sure sign that this is serious. As it is a serious subject, we don't talk, we need to do something about it.
Also on hand was the Assistant Commissioner for the Australian Federal Police, Alan Scott, who spoke of building the capacity of the police in the country by forging partnerships.
That's been growing in the last 12 months, and we're very proud of that relationship and very proud that we're able to be here today and to assist with bringing parties together to stop violence against women and girls. The Australian government is very committed to this cause, very committed to preventing and stopping violence against women and girls, and I'm very proud.
Captain of the PNG national team, the Barramundis, Jack Vara, who recently celebrated the arrival of his third daughter, stated on behalf of his team.
At the end of the day, whatever things go wrong in the field, either win or lose, you have to go back to your families, and most importantly, your wives and your children are the ones that will be behind your back. So look, it's a historical event, and we are looking forward to lead this program all throughout Papua New Guinea.
The program is slated to roll out to the rest of the country, with Lae's Cricket Association already confirmed to follow suit. Another big event on CPNG's calendar is the Pacific MMI Big Bash, set for the 14th of October, and Campbell was quick to point out that that competition will also include a Coalition for Change program. Jeremy Moggy, National, EMTV Sports.
A staggering 1 million kina has been raised for charity by the Malaysian Association of Papua New Guinea. Various business houses in the nation's capital were part of the corporate dinner and charity golf day, which assists charity organisations here in Port Moresby.
The Embassy Charity Drive started in 2001, consisting of a corporate golf challenge and, of course, a dinner and auction. 27,000 kina was raised from the 27 participating teams in the first year. But it wasn't until 3 years later, in 2004, that they were first able to raise over 100,000 kina. That year also saw the biggest number of participating teams with 52.
My thanks to the organizing committees and helpers for giving up your time in your busy schedules for the event. In closing, I wish to thank all of you our sponsors for your contributions. Together we can make a difference, even though it might be small in comparison. God bless.
Fundraising Chairman Ivan Liu was quick to point out that regardless of the amount of money given, the drive was more of a social responsibility.
Not that how much we can raise actually is not that important, despite it is crucial to those needy people. Most important to me is we have tried and played our part in the social responsibility.
Guest of Honor John Pundari expressed his gratitude as all auction proceeds would be forwarded to the Enga relief funds. The minister also given a brief on the natural disaster situation in the Highlands region.
The long-term challenge of ensuring that we give the lives of our people back, in ensuring that they have seasons and a future of the comfort of the villages and the communities that they come from, is a challenge for the provincial government and the national government. We really do appreciate the support we get from NGOs and other good friends. And tonight, I am so appreciative of the fact that the Malaysian Association is able to support the Enga people.
19 charity organizations will benefit from this fundraising drive, and in 2014, the Malaysian business community had raised just over 900,000 kina. This year, however, they have succeeded in surpassing that mark and raising just over 1 million kina for charity. Jeremy Moggy, National, EMTV News.
Well, True Kai Sports wraps up on that note. The weather details coming up next. Stay tuned for that.
True Kai Sports. True Kai Sports.
Now let's take a look at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours. In southern region, dry weather expected in Port Moresby, fine weather in Alotau and Poponeta, brief showers for Kerema, fine and dry in Daru. In Mamase, brief showers expected in Lae City, while Madang, Wewak and Vanimo to look forward to few showers. In the New Guinea Islands, all centres to look forward to thundery showers except Lorengau, fine weather. And in the Highlands, all centres brief showers, then morning fog. Now let's take a look at forecasts for small ships, but first there is a strong wind warning current for all coastal waters of Papua New Guinea, except for waters west of Bogia to Wewak, to Aitape to Vanimo and the northern PNG Indonesian border. Taking a look at waters of southern PNG Indonesian border through Torres Strait, Daru to Kiwai Island, Kerema, Yule Island to Hood Point to Samurai Island, eastern and western Milne Islands, Samurai Island through to Cape Vogel, Finschhafen, including Vitia Strait, Siasi Island to Long Island, Madang to Bogia, Manus and its western group of islands, New Island to East New Britain and Bougainville, seas of 2.5 metres to 3 metres, waters west of Bogia to Wewak, to Aitape, Vanimo and the northern PNG Indonesian border, seas of 0.5 metres to 1.3 metres, and lastly waters of West New Britain, seas of 3 metres to 4 metres. Now taking a look at ocean forecasts for PNG areas, Coral and Solomon Seas, seas rough with southeast winds at 25 to 34 knots. Bismarck Sea, seas rough with patches of rough wind with southeast winds at 25 to 34 knots. And lastly, Pacific Ocean, seas moderate to rather rough with southeast winds at 15 to 25 knots. Now before we go, a quick recap of our main headlines again tonight. Maritime Workers in Lae Protest changes to operations. Also, Papua New Guinea prepares for independence celebrations tomorrow. and a new entity to own state companies. Well, that's been the news, sports and weather tonight on the eve of Independence Day. On behalf of the news crew, I'm Tokana Hasavi Jr. Thanks for your company. You take care and stay happy. Good night.